has a benign condition called ossifying fibroma, which theoretically shouldn't kill her. It's not a malignant tumour, but it grows and grows and grows. And then you have to ask, why has she got it? Why has she got it not only in her lower jaw, but also in her upper jaw, in a completely separate place? The story that you're going to hear is only part of the story. It's in the middle, because she'd had surgery in Zimbabwe beforehand, where they'd taken away half of her lower jaw completely, because that's where it started. So when she saw me, she only had half of her jaw. But that jaw was completely eroded away and taken over by the benign tumour. And then she had it in her upper jaw as well. So, first of all, questions. Why did she have this tumour, which normally only occurs in one place, in two separate parts of her body? Why didn't it occur elsewhere in her body? So lots and lots of questions, and I'll come back to the charity in a moment related to that. So then, because it had occupied all of her upper jaw and all of the remnant of her lower jaw, if I'd taken out all the tumour, she would have had no face. Now, we can certainly reconstruct a whole jaw. We can certainly reconstruct the upper jaw, but I've never reconstructed a whole face all the way through and come out with a good result. So what I was trying to do was, in the first operation, to debulk it completely and to allow the normal bone to grow, because what we did find was we found that she had overactivity of a parathyroid gland in her neck. And that parathyroid gland in her neck was producing parathyroid hormone, which breaks down bone to release calcium. You look at bone as something that holds your body together, but actually the physiology of your body says it's a massive store of calcium, and calcium is vitally important in nerve function, in heart function. If you have too high calcium, you can die of a heart attack. If you have too low calcium, you can die of a heart attack. So what was happening here was that this parathyroid tumour, a benign tumour, completely separate tumour, was overproducing parathyroid hormone, which was breaking down her normal bone, and I imagined that it was allowing this tumour to grow and grow and grow. So I thought, right, we'll debulk it completely, down to a normal looking face, and we'll take out the parathyroid tumour. And we did that. And then 2 years later, she came back just as bad as before. So then we have this dilemma. Do we keep doing these kind of things to her, or do we do a radical operation where there's no chance of giving her a reconstruction that is going to be highly successful? Or do we try looking at bone physiology? So I sent her off to Birmingham. I found the head of the Bone Endocrine Society in the United Kingdom, sent her off to Birmingham to see him, and he said, let's try some biphosphonates. Now those are very common drugs now, they didn't work. And he said, have we ever thought, because this is being fed by blood vessels, and nowadays we're producing antibodies in tumour surgery, which is what I personally mainly do, but I do people who have their faces shot off and things like that, and blast injuries too. And as you'll see, I also operate on people like Tare from time to time. But I thought, why don't we try using an antibody against blood vessels, so that we stop blood vessels forming to feed this tumour? And together we did that, and she's now started on this drug, Avastin, and we hope that that's going to damp down the whole process. So you're going to watch a film in a moment, which I hope brings a tear to your eye. I think, Max, did I have a tear in my eye when I watched a rough cut of it? No, I was laughing all the way. I know. No, I get very emotional about my patients. Fortunately, I don't have a lot of failures, but I regard Tare as one of my failures. I don't regard her as a success. You can see that she's an unfinished project. I want her back, I want to reduce the soft tissues, I want to have her bones there, I want to have her looking much more normal and functioning more normally. She's wonderful, she's forgiven me for not succeeding as I should do. But that's why I started this charity. It's based on that song of Jimmy Cliff. Those who, I don't know whether there's anybody in the room that can remember Jimmy Cliff. Hands up who remembers Jimmy Cliff. Good. There are more questions than answers. I won't put you through any more sorrow. So the point is that we achieve success in the we are totally devoted. Our funds all go on research. I'm the unpaid chief executive of the charity. Actually, I donate £1,200 a year, that's £100 a month to the charity, because I get paid loads of money as an NHS consultant. And I encourage lots of other people to give money to the charity. And I say to some of the few private patients I see, you know, I'm not going to charge you. Why don't you give money to the charity? And they go away, and some don't give any money, and some come back with £50,000, or some I chase down, and I say I want £1 million off you, and they give me £500,000. True stories. But so we spend £460,000 a year. In this audience, we have a PhD student that we're funding, and I can't see her just a moment, a psychology PhD student just over there, who last week was presenting at the National Cancer Intelligence Network conference in Brighton, and she got the top prize for her presentation. What about PhD? Actually, I'm not interested in funding PhD students, because we're about doing clinical research. So there are several things, I want to say a couple of things to you. There are several things that the public don't understand. The first is, they think, I'm going to have a hernia operation, or I'm going to have a hip operation. I'll go to this surgeon, and that surgeon, the other surgeon, the other surgeon. They'll all do the same operation. And really, I'm really just dependent on the skills of the surgeon. No. I had a hip replacement last year. You can have it cemented. You can just have the surface replaced, not the whole thing shoved into your femur. You can have it with a metal surface. You can have it with a ceramic surface. You can have it with all sorts of different things. Which is the best? We don't know. Why don't we know? Because they've never been compared. Because surgeons who are doing it say, oh, the ceramic's the best. That metal hip, crap, I'm not using that. So they're never prepared to do a prospective randomized study comparing. So we don't do the research. So that's what we're doing. We are going to have 4 million patients, not 4 million patients,